I was a government major, and so I was trekked to pursue a master's degree in government. I talked to my boss at the time about my educational endeavors, and she suggested that I look into the public policy and administration program. She thought that that would be better suited for my career. And I looked at the curriculum, that is the schedule of classes, and I realized that that was the place for me.
I wanted to kind of make a career out of doing public good. My kids were all growing up, and so I wanted to transition into something different. I checked out several different programs. Sac State's curriculum and its connection to the Capitol really intrigued me.
So I wanted a degree with currency in a wide range of different niches that would add some value in whatever path I ultimately took, my career. And I saw that in the MPPA program. I saw that it took an interdisciplinary approach. It focused on public policy as well as public administration. It had a focus on state government as well as local. And I saw that the faculty was very diverse, very credentialed, and it was really the program for me.
I chose to leave my position right around my 40th birthday with just this sense that I wanted to do something professionally that was more personally rewarding and had more of a connection to social issues. And so I left with no particular plan in mind. I had completed half the MBA program at Sacramento State, so I knew I wanted to go back and finish my schooling, but having 10 years having passed, I had the option to start over and choose what I wanted to do. And I was working at the time a lot in my children's classrooms and really got excited and interested in education issues. And that kind of led me to look for an opportunity where I could have an influence in that realm, and led me to the PPA program.
Well, there were really two things. One, I just love to learn, so I was looking for an opportunity to learn some more, especially in the field that I'm currently in. So I was looking for that opportunity, as well as I thought by gaining some additional knowledge and some additional tools, it would help me in my current job as well as in furthering me in my career.
After graduating from Sac State in my undergrad, I got a job opportunity in the legislature. I figured if I was going to be effective in my role as a public servant, I needed to get a master's degree in public policy and public administration. I think anytime that we're going to be helping the public out, we have to do what we can to get as much education to be effective at our jobs.
I got interested in why it was that I had to make sure that everything I wrote comported with so many different states' standards, and why there wasn't a national standard that everyone could follow. And that made me more interested in the layers between state, local, and federal government, especially with respect to education. And so I decided that maybe I would learn more and be able to contribute more in terms of science education if I had a public policy background, because it didn't seem like there was a lot of there was a disconnect actually between science faculty and science educators and what was happening at a national policy level.
One day at work, I was actually casually flipping through the Sac State catalog because I guess I had nothing better to do on my break. And I flipped across the page that said Masters in Public Policy and Administration. And I thought to myself, well, I enjoy working for the government. I've kind of got the bug a little bit for civil service. And it seemed like an extremely relevant degree for me. And I actually wandered into my boss's office and asked him if he thought it would be a good fit for me. And it just so happened that his wife had actually gone through the program and graduated in 2002. So he had a lot of really good things to say about it and was all gung-ho for it and said he would write me a letter of recommendation. So I did a little bit more research, read about some of the classes and the course offerings, and decided that it was really the thing for me if I wanted to stay with my career in government.
There are a lot of master's programs in public policy, and there are a lot in public administration. There's only a few that combine them both, and that was really the hybrid approach I wanted. And Sacramento State, of course, is located in the capital of California, so I knew that it would be part of the network of the nerve centers of politics and government for the whole state.
Having been a Sacramento State grad for my undergrad, I had an affinity already for the campus, but really I did some research and asked around, and it came to me highly recommended because of the strong connection between the program and the Capitol, and the engagement of faculty in policy research around state issues, and that was my interest.
I really liked the fact that it was local, for one. So I wanted to continue working full-time, and the program was set up so that I could work full-time and do the classes in the evening or on the weekend, like on Saturday.
It's a great campus, it's a beautiful place, and everybody really focuses on helping out students succeed in their career and life goals.
The Sacramento program is very affordable. It also incorporates a lot of elements from both the public policy analysis side and public administration. The fact that it has faculty who've worked at the Capitol, who work in local government, and who are also in academia really appealed to me.
Some people go for a degree at another three-letter abbreviation school, but I felt that if you really wanted value for your education dollar, Sac State is a tremendous, provides that tremendous opportunity for you.
I recall having professors who graduated from Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. I had professors who were actual legislators and policymakers.
With their connections to the state capitol and their deep knowledge of the politics in the Sacramento region, they would often bring that into the classroom, apply it to current issues, and I felt like that was just so valuable, so interesting and valuable to the course discussion.
I felt very connected with every course I took to what I was doing in my day job, which at the time was everything from political consulting to public policy analysis.
One was really surviving the double economics gauntlet, what Professor Wassmer likes to call the gauntlet, and also regression analyses. And there were a number of times where I questioned my capacity to really do it. And I've got a lot of personal help from Rob Wassmer, and really he helped me believe in myself, and that was really important to keeping me motivated to staying in the program.
I really appreciated that seminar format where there was a give and a take. It really made the classes interesting, especially when you have a 3-hour class. You don't want to just be lectured. So it really kept everybody really engaged.
Probably one of the best memories I had was learning GIS mapping, where you can identify certain things like income levels for families and communities, travel patterns for communities, and figure out how you make decisions that'll impact the state government or your local community from that simple application of tools.
One of the things that I always appreciated about my cohort was how diverse it was. Everyone comes from state service, or they're trying to transition into it, maybe from doing campaign work. Some people are straight out of college. So there's just this interplay between generations and between people's backgrounds that I don't think you'd necessarily get in some of the more elite programs.
The thing that I remember the most is being completely intimidated by the terms that Rob Wassmer would use, like heteroskedasticity. I had no idea what that meant, but by the end of the class I was grateful to not only understand what it meant, but be able to explain it.
The other thing that I enjoyed quite a bit was the fact that we're in Sacramento, in the Capitol. There's access to a lot of both political leaders and leaders in civil service. And those leaders were brought into the classroom oftentimes, so there was not just the theoretical, here's the theory of public policy or public administration, but you heard from the practitioners. So it really made what we were being taught real, and gave us a better understanding of how we would apply those tools and that knowledge.
The thing that I remember most about the Public Policy and Administration program was just being able to learn so many new things in a tremendously short amount of time that were so instantly practical for me in my work with the state of California.
I was an administrator doing administrative activities in the legislative arena, and I was promoted to policy analyst. And I did that for about a year, but because of my master's degree, I was promoted to Associate Director of Legislative Affairs.
It's broadened my choices. It's given me opportunities that I wouldn't otherwise have had. It's really increased my confidence.
I've worked in the local government level and the state government level, and every step along the way I've drawn some value to the training I received in the program. It gives you the tools to dissect and build public policy, and to understand the what as well as the how.
Once I graduated, I used my education quite directly, going to work for the Legislative Analyst's Office as a policy analyst, and I kind of consider that an extension of my graduate experience. I decided after a year of doing that I wanted to know more, and to engage in education, K-12 education policy issues, I felt I needed to know more about the structure and organization of education. So I've actually used it by moving on to a doctorate program where I think the grounding I got, particularly in research skills and in analytical skills, has served me really well.
So there's the what, which is the policy, the legislative process, all of that, and then there's the how, and that's how laws get enacted and how they actually become, how they hit the ground in real life through the bureaucracy and cultures of bureaucracy. And I learned in the program how to understand those dynamics.
Recently, my group had to put together a major environmental public policy, and I found myself applying the tools and knowledge from many of my classes from the MPPA program.
It's led to me to receiving positions as a Sacramento County Planning Commissioner, being recommended to be on the Redevelopment Area Advisory Committee for my neighborhood, but not only that, but being able to advise senators and assembly members on what the most effective public policy for California is.
Once I completed my thesis, I was able to present on it at the Consumer Protection Board that I worked for. So it was very valuable because I was able to line up my work with my education experience and actually have a final thesis product that was read by someone, which is a great thing to happen. Other than just having yourself read it and your two thesis readers, having someone else actually read and think about your thesis is a tremendously valuable thing, and I'm very honored that I had that opportunity.
After I finished my degree, I applied to the state auditor's office and was hired. And at the same time, I was also applying for a fellowship with an education policy think tank in DC. And I was offered them both at the same time. And I was able to convince the auditor's office to let me postpone my start date so that I could go to DC and actually do the fellowship. Since then, I've applied just about everything I've learned from the program in my work.
In just going through the program and being able to graduate and instantly use the skills that I learned in the program, it's just validation that I made the right choice, and that I'm, looking back, I have no regrets, and I think this really was the best decision for me to go through the Master's in Public Policy Administration program here at Sac State. You get a tremendous amount of practical skill. You're exposed to relevant policy questions. You learn how to analyze data. You learn how to look objectively at issues that are facing state government. I've just found that for bang for your buck, there is really no better option in public policy administration than Sac State in this area.
I would strongly recommend anybody the master's program of public policy and public administration at Sacramento State, because it's a program that's located right here in Sacramento, in the middle of the political center for the state. Our faculty are involved in the practice of public policy. Students get a hands-on experience on real decisions and impacts that are happening to our community. Not only that, but our alumni base is a strong and growing alumni base. That's a great network for any student who's looking for a career in public policy.
Folks approach me and ask, gee, what's the next step in my educational endeavor? I highly recommend that they get a master's degree. And I also recommend that they get it in this concentration, because this concentration sets you up very succinctly for a position in and around the Capitol.
I would wholeheartedly recommend Sac State's Master of Public Policy program. The professors are extremely knowledgeable. Their connections with the state government are so valuable. They make sure that students are connected with practitioners at both the state and local level, and that brings so much value into the classroom and also into the opportunities that have continued afterwards.
Whether you want a career in state government, local government, politics, public affairs, or civil service, I found that it's a highly adaptable skill set that you get from this training, and I'd recommend it for anyone who falls in that range.
The fact that the faculty have such varied experience. Mary Curlin was chief of staff for the schools, the superintendent of public schools. One of our adjunct faculty is on the Senate, is the chief consultant of the Senate and Local Government Committee. Rob Wasmer is a prominent economist and has a really good background in local economics and local finance.
I would also say this is a program where the faculty really care about students and give a lot of personal attention. And it, was not one of those experiences where, bye, see you, glad you were in the program. We've really formed a network, and I think there's a lot of attention to keeping alumni engaged as well.
It's clear to me that the care that this program takes to make sure that you're very well-rounded gives you the opportunity to work in a lot of environments within the realm of public policy and administration.
In public policy administration than Sac State in this area. Some folks find that you want to pay for the big name school, you want to pay for a satellite campus that might be around here, but I've always said if you really want to focus on developing your skills and you're in the line of state government, that you're going to get all those skills for a much cheaper dollar here at Sac State. I really think you can't ask for a better education, so really why pay more when you can get a tremendous amount of value here in attending Sac State's MPPA program.